Etsy recently announced that they're going to be doing away with the old listing form as of June 25th. So if you like the old form, you're used to the old form, it's going away. I'm sorry, RIP old form. The new form is here and here to stay. Obviously, people are up in arms. Any big change like this, people are going to be, PO'd, and they're going to complain because people don't like change, right? Especially e-commerce. Some e-commerce sellers, they just don't like changes. They like it the old way. They don't want it to change. But unfortunately, that's just not the way that it is. Technology is constantly changing, constantly evolving, and this is the case with Etsy. So, like it or hate it, it is changing. But I do want to kind of dive into what this means for you as a seller. And don't don't kill the messenger here. I know people always rip me when I tell you guys this stuff. I'm not making the change. Etsy's making the change. Now, my personal opinion, I've been using the new form for months and I haven't had any issues. It's pretty seamless, and the tab functionality is probably the best part, because before with the old form you have to scroll. You miss something, you got to scroll all the way down, you got to scroll all the way back up. With the tab function on the top in the new form, you can bounce. It has performance, about, price and inventory, variations, details, shipping, and settings at the very top. So you can kind of bounce, boom, 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 and it makes it a lot easier and a lot faster to bounce. So Etsy highlighted the following features of the new form that maybe if you have been using the old form you don't realize. So the scroll no more feature. Can you still scroll? Yes, absolutely, you can still scroll. But you don't have to scroll because it has the tabs up the top. But I still scroll, you know what I mean? I still will go through the whole process of scrolling down through the whole thing. But then if I scroll to the top and I miss something, then I can easily hit one of the tabs and kind of dive back into that specific area. The other thing is they say you can optimize smarter. The performance tab displays performance data and reviews for your listing, kind of making it easier to make edits. So I think that is pretty cool. Basically shows, it's kind of breakdown of the stats, shows any views, orders, revenue, favorites, and then it has any reviews on there as well. So it's kind of like the listing, the stats tab. If you go back out of the listing, and this is for listings that you've already done, obviously not for new listings, it's not gonna have any stats. So if you go back into the form for your existing listings, it'll have a performance tab, or you can just hit the little gear icon and see your stats that way. And it's much more robust. So this is just a basic snapshot. You can get a sneak peek. So listing preview lets you double check your edits before publishing it live. This is always good to do. Just to make sure everything looks good. The biggest thing that I've messed up in the past is just putting another picture first accidentally. So you may have to move your picture, and you see it in the preview, and you're like, oh crap, that's like a not the picture that I want first. That's like a picture of maybe like a size chart or a color palette or something like that, where yeah, it's good to have in there. But obviously if it's first and that's what shows up in search, people are like, what the hell am I looking at here? So that's, the preview is good. Just make sure that you didn't miss anything and everything doesn't look wonky. The profit calculator is something they've been touting for a while, so you can kind of see, especially for new listings, what the projected profit will be. It includes the fees, and then you can enter your costs. And this is where it gets tricky. I mean, a lot of people aren't good with coming up with their costs, your material costs, your supply costs, your shipping costs, your packing material costs. You can include labor costs in there. So there's a lot of costs to consider, taxes, different things like that. I would say just keep it as simple as possible. You should have a loose idea of your profit margin anyways. You can use a profit margin calculator. There's a lot, they're all over. You just Google profit margin calculator. And there's other calculators that have Etsy fees, like Alora is one of the platforms that I use. They have a free profit margin calculator that includes Etsy fees, and you can include, if you do advertising, it'll include those fees to give you a better idea. But you should know your material costs, because that's something that you always should get as low as possible without skimping on quality. Wholesale, that type of stuff helps to kind of go into it. But I think a lot of people just don't realize, they don't take into account like fees and all that stuff, especially POD sellers. that stuff does, and that stuff eats up your profit, and you're not going to be making as much money as you think you're going to be making, and it's easy to lose money. So you have to be careful. So the profit margin can at least give you a good idea, but again, there's user error, so you got to know how to use it, and this is something that you'll evolve with and get better at as you go. And you can't blame Etsy because you figured out your profit margin wrong, right? So use the tools to your advantage, but you got to be able to use them the right way to get the most out of them. But the kind of the flip side of this, and what people have been pissed about, is that are still using the old form. There's a couple of things that they've hit on. You can't add manual translations to your listings, which I don't do that anyways. So I'm sure there's people that do that. They sell to different countries, different languages. You can't enable your listing to appear on the Pattern site, which if you're using Pattern is basically Etsy's website builder. So you can basically have a Pattern site with your own domain. If you sell, like, maybe it's Lucy's, if you sell candles, you can create a domain. It's like lucyscandles.com and set all that stuff up on Pattern and sell in both places. Obviously, Pattern is your own website, so you have to drive your own traffic, but it looks a little bit more professional. And that makes it a little bit easier because you can easily put your stuff that's in your listing store in Pattern, and you can add stuff inside Pattern that you cannot put in Etsy that's against violations, like non-handmade stuff, different things like that. You can sell on Pattern. It is considered a separate site. It just makes it a lot easier to put your listings both places, because otherwise you have to buy your own domain, set it up, and then list all your stuff again. So as far as sense of ease, Pattern is a great way to go. It's a lot faster, it's easier. As far as functionality and what you can do with it, it's very limited. They haven't really iterated on it very much. But again, it's super fast. You can literally, with a couple of clicks, set up your own website and have all your stuff on your own website. So for that purpose, it's pretty cool. And then I think Pattern's like, I think it's like 10 or 15 bucks a month. It's not expensive if you want to look into it, but that's kind of a little brief summary of Pattern. I've really done it on past videos. It's been a while, but I've done a side-by-side kind of comparison of Pattern compared to other sites, the pros, the cons, so you can kind of dig into my other YouTube videos to find that. You can't edit a private or a custom listing in the new form. So I don't know why they have that like that, but it's, for whatever reason, you can't, if it's in that status, you can't edit it. I don't know why. It seems like that would be an easy fix. And you can't see all the listing states, like inactive or expired listings in the new form. So if you already have listings and they're expired, you're not going to be able to go into them and edit them with the new form. Again, this seems like an easy fix, kind of a dumb thing. Why they wouldn't have it, I don't know. But they said that so Etsy basically said they're exploring and adding improvements to navigation and shipping profiles, and it invited sellers to take a survey. So, hey, as long as they're reaching out, whether they're listening to sellers or not, I don't know. But they're at least trying, or at least showing that they're trying. So, hey, that's a win, right? I guess the survey said, if you could change or improve anything about the updated seller listing form, well, what would you change? And then the other question was, is there any other feedback you'd like to share with us regarding the updated listing seller form? So they are sending out that survey. Maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. But they did say that they are going to add the following functionality to the new listing form by June 25th. So basically everything I just talked about. They're going to add manual translations to your listing, enable your listing to appear on your Pattern site, enable you to edit a private, custom, or new listing, and then be able to see and edit all listings in all states. Again, this doesn't seem like anything insurmountable that can't be changed on the back end. None of this stuff is crazy changes. But so get ready. If you're not using new listing form, I would definitely use it just to start getting used to it. I know, again, people are stuck in their ways, but it is what it is. You have to kind of evolve with the changes. And if they make these improvements and things that people are complaining about, then I don't see a big deal. Again, I do like the tab functionality at the top. It's a little bit cleaner to use. Yeah, the first couple times I used it, it was different, sure, but you will get used to it. You will evolve, and you'll get used to it, and this is going to be a non-issue going forward. But that is it for this episode. I just wanted to cover kind of the new listing form going away, or the new listing form is here to stay. The old listing form is going away. that kind of rhymed. I could be a rapper or a poet. That's it for this episode, guys. I'll be back soon with some more good stuff for you. Have an amazing rest of your day.